I think the only thing I can say is to be true to who you are and live your life that you want to live and live for yourself. And I think abandoning yourself and denying yourself what you need and want is the greatest crime you can do to yourself. Life is going to work out the way it's supposed to. Might not work out the way you might always want, but staying true to what you want and need is the most important thing, I think.
Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Karolina Wydra is an actor. She sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character?
Yeah, I love to do, I've done dream work for my characters for a very long time. I love tapping into the subconscious, and it starts with writing a dream before going to bed, asking specific questions, and then you dream for your character, and whatever comes up, every person, thing, object in that dream is for that character. And it's also you. And it started with Carl Jung. He wrote the Red Book, and the Red Book is all about him analyzing himself through the dream work. And so he believes that 80% of us operate subconsciously and 20% only consciously. So when you dream, your subconscious speaks to you in archetypes and images, and you have to dissect the dreams. They're not what you think the image is, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you think of, let's say you have blue in your dream, and you go do associations with blue, what blue means to you, and you go, well, blue, ocean, sky, blue, depression, da-da-da. And then you circle the things that really stand out to you, and you're like, oh, I think the color blue in my dream meant this. I think it's telling me that I'm not feeling myself. Maybe I'm feeling depressed or whatever, or like, oh, ocean, childhood. Oh, my favorite place is by the sea. So you just start really going into these images and dissecting them, and there's this rich world that comes up from it, or the archetypes of, oh my God, it's a mother, it's a mother archetype, or it's a father or king or a jester, and so on. So when you dream for your characters, you really get to tap into this whole other world that I love. And there's also this thing called active imagination, where you can talk to the images or objects and ask yourself why they came to you, what they're trying to represent in you, what they're trying to teach you. It's really fun. There's a whole ritual that goes with it. And if you trust in it, what's beautiful about it, it lives deep inside of you. So you do all that prep, you do all that work, and then you just leave it alone. So when you go on set, you don't have to even think about it. It just lives in you. And I've noticed actors that I love do dream work as well. There's something magically that happens that is there because you're operating from a different well inside you.
This unconscious place is where the richest approach to this work is, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, look, I've studied with so many different people over the years, because when I started acting, I want to consume all these different techniques I believe in this, take what you like and leave the rest. Yeah. So study as much as you can and take all the bits and pieces that speak to you. And then you can use it for whatever comes up, whatever challenges you have with it, how you can break it open and find your way in. And so I've done Alexander technique, I do animal work, I do script analysis, obviously. I love Meisner, gets you present in the moment to really listen and react to someone. So studying with all these, or doing a backstory, Stella Adler, Larry Moss, who I did workshops with. Nancy Banks is also studied with Larry Moss, and then I studied with Mimi Lieber. I studied with Greta Seacat, who Sandra Seacat started the dream work. I studied with Ron Stetson, who did Meisner. So I have so many different things that I pull from for each character. So it just depends who the character is and what that character needs. Yeah. I go into it. When I did Violet on True Blood, I used an animal for her. For me, she was a panther, Black Panther, nocturnal. They lived at night. the way they walk, the way they prowl their prey, the way they walk, the way they observe, everything happens in their eyes. And there's a very slow, confident movement that just like lures their prey in, because she would just lure her prey in because she's a vampire. So, you know, it just depends what character I play. I use different techniques to get into it.
What, like, for instance, with animal work, like what when you do the preparation for that particular animal, what is happening though on set?
A lot of the prep happens before, and it happens in the trailer.
Yeah.
So if it's having an animal, I do a lot of work where I will work with a coach, and we find images and find the right animal that I'm like, this is the animal, and then get into that energy, watch videos of how that animal moves, study them, go pretty deep into how that animal functions in the wild. Then you start walking like that animal. Then you start listening like that animal. Then you start observing the room like that animal. So this all happens before you even get on set. And then if there's something that you find that works for you, a physical gesture, a piece of music that also gets you deeper into that to embodying that character that lives there, you do that in your trailer before you go on set. Or it could be just looking at an image, that image that, inspired you between takes to embody and go like, I feel that character. Okay, it's in me. It's alive in me.
How did you even come to a place where you knew you wanted to do this work?
If there was a moment that I saw somebody's performance that I went, this is it. And I have to say, I think growing up in Poland during communism, it was, for me, at least from what I remember, I was very limited to what I saw on TV, because you were very lucky if you had a TV. And the programs that you had were maybe 3. So you weren't exposed to a lot of films. I didn't go to a movie theater. So I grew up in the city and then in a little village with my grandma. And we would have maybe once a week a bootleg version of some film from America. So it was you couldn't understand what it was. It was just a visual thing. And it was like a sheet that they would put up and a projector and would watch a movie, a bunch of people from the village. And so that was my first experience of watching cinema. I didn't go to see plays, but I used to perform for my school reciting poetry. It was almost as if it was a one-person show, reciting poetry, performing the poem, embodying the poem. And I loved it. And I think for me, I innately had the desire to perform. I did ballroom dancing, but I innately love to perform. It was something that lived inside of me. I love fantasy. I love to daydream. I would get lost in my fantasy world. I was always curious about human behavior. I was always curious about humans. That was always my thing of studying people, watching people, taking them in. And so it always lived inside of me. And then the performances where I got older, that affected was Anna Magnani. Do you know what that,
what
that
sure.
is? Her movies when I saw Mama Roma, Open City, the Rose Tattoo. And I remember when I saw her, I was just blown away by the audacity of her performance, her rawness, her, I used to watch a lot of old films and you would see these beautiful Hollywood stars, but she was considered the ugly duckling of Hollywood during that time. And to me, A Fugitive Kind with Marlon Brando is another one. And I remember I used to watch her, and to me, she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And she was a woman, voluptuous, and just her rawness just really affected me. And her performance, every time I would just be blown away by her fearlessness and the power that she exuded. And I don't know how I found it. I did.
Yeah.
I find maybe somebody mentioned it somewhere, and I'm quite a curious person. I would say I I like to know what people enjoy, people like, and I go home and I study and I check it out. And I used to live in New York, and I came to New York when I was like 21. But before that, I traveled the world. By the time I was 21, I traveled the world. I lived in Japan, Australia, Singapore, Paris, London. I was on my own at the age of 15 going to Japan modeling. And so I was exposed to this very free place of figuring out how life works, being on my own, making my way through life without having my parents were in California, but I was on my own doing everything. Yeah. So I had to figure out how to survive on the streets of walking by myself as a teenager. Yeah, wow. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And going to Paris or not speaking French, or going to Italy and not speaking Italian, not knowing the languages, and just find my way through it. And I loved it. And I was always curious about the world. I always felt that feeling that I had inside me since I was a little kid. I always envisioned myself to living a big life. And I always felt that. I knew that. Yeah. So being exposed to that was such a great lesson, and somewhere along the way I would hear these things, and then I would start to consume. I was a cinephile, like a major cinephile, and I loved old films, and I loved French films, Russian films, experimental films. And when I lived in New York, I would just study film so much. I just loved it. And then theater, I loved it. And until I was 25 and brave enough to start acting, that I switched careers. I started changing the trajectory of my transition from modeling to acting, because I was afraid of it. My father was an art teacher. My mother was a math teacher. So one side of my family was very intellectual, brilliant math teacher, my mother was, and so was my brother. They're very smart, and my father would draw, and being an art teacher, he loved the arts. But yeah, maybe because it was communism, we didn't go to theater. And so it wasn't also supported when we came as immigrants to this country, because, my parents at the age of 40 or 41, when they came here, they had to do an immigrant job. They had to leave their life behind for a better future for us. And so the idea of being an actor was a joke. How dare you? Are you kidding me? You have to make something of yourself, have a prestigious job that is stable and gives you money and stability and prestige. And that's a doctor or a lawyer, and this, this bullshit of like acting, where you got to be out of your mind. So, but then when I was discovered for modeling, my mom was like, yeah, that's a great idea, which is so weird to me. Okay. Yeah. She was excited about it.
But then transitioning from model to actor, it's almost like then you're starting over again. Like you got lucky with the model thing, right? And then you're like, all right, maybe you should transition to something now that's stable. Yeah. But no, you go to transition to something again that's not stable.
Absolutely not stable. Yeah. I mean,
did it feel like you were being a rebel again?
It didn't feel like I was being a rebel. At that point, it felt like I was being true to myself. What it felt like is that I was doing something that my soul craved for so long that I denied myself. Because, like I said, I felt the something when I was a kid. I loved performing in some shape or form. But when we moved to America and being an hour away from Hollywood, it just seems just so far away. It just didn't seem it was even attainable. So I just left it behind and made it to be my little desire and secret that lived inside of me, this hunger for it. And so when I was modeling in New York and I was able to go to theater and be impacted and by that, I would just sit there and observe these performances. And I remember I saw Eve Best. I saw her in Homecoming with Al Pacino on Broadway. I remember I saw Talk Radio with Liev Schreiber. That was another performance. I mean, I've seen many incredible performances, but I remember that I was really touched by his performance. And I remember Sebastian Stan was like his first Broadway debut. And I saw him and I was like, who is this guy? And I would watch these performances and I was sitting there just being emotional, how desperately I wish it was me up there.
Yeah.
And so then, consuming all these films, and at 25, I got an opportunity to audition for a short film with Mike Figgis, and then once I did that, that was it. I was like, I can't. Modeling provided an incredible financial security for me. I was very lucky to make money, be successful at it, but it left me feeling incredibly empty. And so that short film, I didn't make any money. It was 2 days, but I felt so alive and so happy. And that feeling has not left. Truly till today, my favorite place is on set, being around creative people, collaborating, talking about the scenes and talking about what we're going to shoot and rehearsing and dissecting the process and all that. And, I have 2 little boys, and my dream for them is to have the passion and love for something that I have for this craft. Because my friends, I remember we would sit, when we started taking acting classes, I started taking all these different acting classes. When I used to smoke back then, we would sit around and smoke cigarettes till 5 a.m, drink coffee, and talk about performances and talk about movies and talk about actors and performances that inspired us, and being blown away by whatever we saw, and wonder if we could even do it, if it was possible that we could perform something like this. And it was just those are the best times. I miss those times, because it was just, you're also so full of hope and desire and hunger and passion, and I hope my kids have that for something. Because that's the most important thing. It'll get them through anything, right? It'll get them through anything. Yeah, because that too, and also, when you have that, like, there's a purpose to your life. You feel like there's a purpose, and it does. If you told me do a play, and back then do a play and not make any money, but let's sign me up, let's go. You didn't care if you. For me, it was easier to say that because I had some money in the bank, because I was modeling, and I earned money, so I could feel that way too. Obviously, when I got older, and you need to pay rent, and there's a struggle of not getting roles, and that changes your relationship to acting as well. And your pain that comes with it of not working, which I've went through that as well. I had many different, I feel reiterations of acting and what it has meant for me, and the journey with it, and working, not working, paying bills, not paying bills, putting foot on the table, not putting foot on the table. The pain of that, and falling in love with roles, not getting the role you fall in love with, and how heartbreaking that is. And, and auditioning, for me, when I audition, I give everything to my characters. And when you don't get it, you grieve. You grieve the loss of that person, because they do live inside it. And I think also doing dream work, what it does, it goes deep inside you.
When you give 100% to an audition and you don't get it, does it make you think, I have to not do that again because my heart can't take this over and over again? Or does it make you think, no, I just have to keep giving it 100%. My heart's going to break maybe a bunch of times.
I don't know how not to. I really don't. I don't know. If I do that, the result is shit. Truly, it's not the same and I've done that. We've done that for certain things when the writing's not great, you're not excited. I mean, let's be honest. If the part is not exciting and you go, oh, this writing is really...
Yeah, it's hard to give your heart to that,
it's really hard, that's a hard one. Then, your heart is not broken. But if there's a character that you read, I mean, it's not often that you have a character that you just go, I have to play this. It's not very often. But I don't know how not to give 100%. I don't know. It's really hard for me.
Yeah.
not to give a lot of myself to what I do.
Yeah.
And maybe that's also comes in a strange way. Maybe that comes from also modeling days where when you're training as far as being a worker, like you work hard and people don't realize that it's not as glamorous as people think. It's a job, and you give a lot of yourself to it. So I take pride in working hard. I really do. I love it. I take pride in working hard. I mean, Ray and I, we laugh about it because we were at the BAFTAs, and so we were trying to find their table, and the people that were helping, they didn't know where the table were, and they were confused about, you know, where people are sitting, and we were laughing because Ray and I said, if it was us, we would study every table. So when people are like, what table 23 right there over there, let me take you over there. To 12, yeah, no problem, right there.
Yeah.
We take pride in,
no matter what it is. Yeah.
And no matter what it is, that to be good at it, to wanting to be good at it, to know our shit, to be like, I got it. Yeah, what do you need? Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Truly, like that's who I am. I take pride in whatever I do. I want to be really good at. I do pottery. I've done pottery for years, and I take pride in knowing my things, or studying things. And
well, where were you in this when, right before the Pluribus audition, when you weren't working? For someone like you're describing to us right now, that it's such an integral part of your life. It gives you purpose.
Yeah.
Of course, there are tons of people, we know them. Like I can list them right here that are incredible actors that nobody gives them work, but they still find a way to do it somewhere, even if it's in some small theater somewhere that nobody's heard of, right? But what had happened to you? Was it just that your heart was broken so many times that you didn't want it to break again, or you didn't want to give it the 100% again?
No, I made a choice. So I did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then there was a bit of a break, I think, until the pandemic. The pandemic happened and everything shut down. And during the pandemic, I was 39, and I met my husband around 37, 38. So when I was 39, pandemic hit, and it was very important for me to, we were talking about starting a family, and I got pregnant with my son, and it was very important for me to stay home. It was something that I knew it was a very sacrificing decision for my career and for myself. But I knew I had to do it because my parents used to travel a lot when I was a child, and the pain of not having them around was really, really hard. And so I told myself, either I never have kids, and that's okay, but if I do, this is the sacrifice I have to make. And then when I had Atticus, I remember my agent and manager left me because I was taking that break, and that was really painful. That was really heartbreaking, because I felt like that was a nail on the coffin of like, this might be done for you. This might be the end. You're 40 and you don't have a representation. How are you going to get a job? And then I had my second son, and when he was a year and a half, I remember I was talking to my best friend. I said, I'm ready to be creative again. I'm ready to, I created life, but I'm ready to fulfill my soul with something else, my creativity. And we're talking about going back to acting. And I said, I don't know how. I don't know how to even begin this journey back. And I was 42 at the time, 41 or 42. And I was very, look, my experience with this whole, how I got the show is, I still can't believe that I'm sitting here talking to you, like that you're interested in talking to me about my process because of the journey prior to that and where I was. And I got an email from a lady that worked for this agency that I was on a roster of, but I haven't worked with them in years, a commercial agency. And the email said, there's a request for a self-tape for a character named Anna. And I said, I wrote back and I said, well, okay, what is it for? I have my and she said it's Vince. She said let me come back to you with more details. And she said it's Vince Gilligan for Apple TV. And you have to understand that moment when I read that was so surreal to me, because I've always dreamt of working with Vince. It was always a dream of mine to be in his universe, to have an opportunity to meet him, work with him, and I never have. And then this comes, and so I put myself on tape. At first, I wasn't going to do it because of the fear.
Tell me why that?
Why?
That?
Because I thought, fear of failure, and fear if I have this. So working with Vince would have been a dream come true, and if this fantasy again, right, wouldn't come to fruition, I'll be gutted, and that fantasy's gone, poof, done. Now you have a reality. Now it's like no, now it's over.
The warm blanket of the fantasy would be stripped from you. In a second, right? It's like a warmness of that. That's always kind of out
denial
there.
Is easier. Right? They say like denial is so much easier than the reality at times, because it's less painful. You just go, but let me just keep fantasizing about it. And so I was afraid to do it. But then there was that other voice in my head that said, Karolina, you have nothing to lose. Like, what are you doing? Just do. This came out of nowhere, a gift. Do it. And I did, and my friend, when we were taping that day, something was happening in the room as we were doing it. I don't know why, and I'm even like getting chills as I'm saying this. Energetically, there was a shift in the room, and she even said, I don't know what's happening, but I feel good about this for you. Something is happening in this room. And I go, oh, come on, stop it. Like, we're just doing it. She's like, I don't know. Something is happening in this room. But I felt it too, and then I got I sent it in, and 2 days later they wanted to see more stuff on me, and then I took upon myself to contact the casting directors to keep in touch with them if they needed more information, and then 2 weeks later they contacted me that they want to test me, and my best friend happened to be I happened to be on vacation, and she led me her manager to make the deal, and then I learned the significance of the show. I mean, the Zosia and the world that Vince created, and there's something beyond my wildest dreams. This whole journey, and then getting it, talking to Vince, and it was truly surreal, and I really felt like somebody's messing with me. It just felt some kind of a joke that someone's playing on me. Because how could this be that I take this break, I lose my representation, and here I am working for the man I've always dreamt of working with, and playing a character that's so rich, so complex, so out of this world, and I was overwhelmed when I read episode 2. I mean, the writing was superb. The journey I went on, reading the scripts, I couldn't put them down, the first 2 scripts, because then I would get each script as it came out, and I was overwhelmed and terrified of how the hell I'm gonna.
Sounds like a real challenge. More than any other role, it seems like. No, seriously, it is, because I didn't have a backstory for her, because it doesn't matter. Isn't that interesting, right? Because it's almost counterproductive with this kind of character, because she's not who she was. She's not who she was, right? She's a different entity of herself.
Yes, the vessel is the same. The personality is somewhat the same, but not really. It's altered.
Right. Any of our vices or our things that our hang-ups are gone.
Well, if you ask Zosia, what ticks you? Like, the only thing I would imagine would be, to make Carol unhappy.
And even that doesn't get to her in ways that it gets to us now. No, for sure. So it's very, when you work on a character, normally when you give them a past,
there's a reason somebody says
Right.
something and you have a reaction to it because of something that happened to you prior. And, you know, that's the fun bit of just dissecting why they're saying what they're saying.
Right.
What gets them going? What,
Right.
you know, what triggers them? Oh, like, oh, that's interesting comment on their, let's say, grandma. Sounds like she didn't have a good relationship with her grandma. Let's go into that. Like, what happened with her grandma? So you can really like build this world with a normal or with a regular human being. And so with this one, it was a different approach that I had to take.
Was that freeing though? Like, did that make it almost would make it seem like make the job easier?
No, it was actually made it more difficult.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you why it made it more difficult. The challenges were going against my natural instincts. As a human being. So as an actor, so for instance, one of the things would be if you're going on set and you're feeling nervous, you have the butterflies in your stomach and excitement, nervousness, whatever. You go, give it to the character, let it flow, let it be its thing. Let's see where it lands.
Can't give it to this
character.
No. That's interesting.
You can. It doesn't live in her body, so it can't even live in her physicality.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Right?
I never thought of that.
Yeah, so let's say like we're having a conversation right now. I'm having a lot of feelings. I'm taking you in. I'm watching you. It's different. These people are also they're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of even dying because they've been uploaded. Their whole being, their whole existence, every memory, everything they like, everything that takes them has been uploaded into the to the system, whatever that system is. And so it was the idea. I mean, it's incredible what Vince created with that show and the others, and you know, and prior to reading to that, I'm a very spiritual person, so I studied a lot of spirituality, and I love it. I've always meditated a lot, and I've always questioned what it would be like if we were all the same, one love. This idea of one love, one consciousness. I always think about it, how much better the world would be, and him presenting it in the way that he does. I go, wow. There's one factor that it's missing, is this thing of individuality that I didn't think about. How important individuality is. So that was interesting to think about, but that's a side note of Karolina dissecting the world that Vince created. But it was the challenges were, and also for me, I'm a very empathetic person and I feel deeply and I really care about people and I'm very affected by people. So playing someone that can't have that were the challenges on day-to-day basis when Ray is having these beautiful big feelings, her character is going through so much grief and anger and fear and all of it. I can go on that journey with her. And also I'm not a robot. She's a fully fledged human being.
Right.
So basically trusting in what Vince saw and trusting in what the prep that I have done, that it lands energetically. You see this thing that bounces off of me, but I'm holding space for her and still taking her in and loving her unconditionally through it and not coming off as just a robot.
What you're saying right now is what I first noticed about you, because I didn't know you before this, but I remember thinking, and sometimes I'm taken by a show and I don't get to think this, but I did miraculously. I thought, this is so hard to do what she's doing.
Thank you.
I really thought that.
Thank you.
Because there's a really fine line, like you're saying right now. It's a fine line.
Yeah.
And when did you know that they scanned the world to try to find this person to play this character? And when you found that out, were you thinking like, what is it about me that they saw?
Well, I'm still asking Vince, like, what did you see? Because I've always played very villainous characters. I love those con artists, wacky, out there, intense characters. And to play someone so, not the opposite of that, someone that is so unflappable and so present and so open, I'm seriously, I'm surprised, I'm grateful for it because it was a beautiful challenge to play and embody. But one thing that I want to say about that, meditation was the key to unlocking Zosia, because when you meditate, and Adam, do you meditate?
I don't want to get into this because it's embarrassing. Okay?
Yeah.
But I understand the importance of it. I have tried. And the reason why it's embarrassing is because you just have to keep doing it. That's what's embarrassing, that I don't keep doing it, and I know how important it is. And just to break through whatever my block is. But
well, you have to trust in it, because it takes time, and yet it takes trust, because it can be overwhelming and confusing, because
I need it more than anybody you've ever talked to.
Well,
people are laughing that know me right now that are listening.
No, but I get it, because I forever people are like, you're ADD, like you're just so all over the place. And it's true. My mind works so much faster than my mouth can. It's really hard. Sometimes I find myself, I'm on to like so many different thoughts and I haven't finished my idea. But I thought I did. Because in my head, I've had a lot of different conversations. You know what I mean?
Do you ever have people say, "Oh, you're not explaining that right," and you're like, "Yes, I did."
Talk to my husband. He's
like,
like, "You didn't tell me this." I'm like, "Yes, I did." He's like, "Babe, you did." I'm like, "No, I did." In my head, I had a lot of conversations. Exactly. And I'm convinced that I share them, but I don't.
Yeah. You need everybody to be telepathically connected to you.
Which I think they are, by the way. That's the problem.
Wait, we're finally realizing what they saw in you. You're
Yes, tell me.
Right? This
yes,
is it.
Tell me.
You are telepathically connecting with us already.
Yes. Thank you, Vince. I'm so glad. I'm sure Vince was he was connected. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, that's what I think all the time. Like, yeah, you live in my brain, right? You already had that conversation. Like, what's your problem? But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know what he saw. I guess whatever the essence that I brought that day, that it worked for him, and the understanding, maybe the understanding of her, because I've meditated in the past and because I'm a spiritual person, there's a level of understanding that I have for this consciousness of being connected to the universe, to humans in an energetic way, and meditation, what it does for me, after you do it for a long time, and I would meditate a lot for Zosia every day, 20, 30 minutes. It was religiously, I would meditate. It strips away the ego, and your body's your vessel. Your body is, it's flesh, but there's a spirit, there's an energy that lives inside of you. And so when you tap into that, you do have a light experience. You feel something transforms in your being, and all the fear is lifted, the ego is lifted. You're not afraid, you feel connected. Only the ego is afraid of death. Only the ego is afraid of all these things. But when you remove that, there's something that happens where you go, I'm okay. Everything's okay. Everything is just the way it's supposed to be. And you have a different connection to the human beings, to the world, to nature, to the planet, to the universe. It's really profound and beautiful, and you feel lighter. There's a lightness that happens to you, and there's an opening in your chest. You feel the lightness in your chest, and you go, everything's okay.
Yeah.
And so that was very important for Zosia, and so I think maybe having been meditating before, I was like tapping into that. And also dream work. I'm telling you, there's something about dream work, because these dreams do reveal my connection to meditating again came from my dreams as well. It was like, this is key. And then doing physical, embodying her through a lot of physical work, a lot of relaxation, a lot of opening, and being present in my body and being aware of my body, and not numbing out, not checking out of my body, but being really open and present to receive her, to keep receiving her.
Yeah.
And then trusting Vince on a day when I was doing things, for him to push me further into who Zosia is, at times where I felt, are you sure? Because this feels very uncomfortable in my body. I feel I'm going against all of my instincts, and it feels weird. It just doesn't feel natural to me. And that's where she lived sometimes. And
what made you trust then that? Did you have to see it on the monitor?
Oh God, no.
Oh, interesting.
I could never watch myself. That's
Okay.
just no.
Yeah.
That's really hard. I mean, Vince said this to me on set. He said, "You will learn to trust me." And I said, "I'm like, come on, Vince Gilligan, I trust you." And he said, and he's such a humble human being. He goes, "No, you will learn to trust me." And now I know what he means. He will never make you look bad. He will push you because he knows he can, and he believes in you and believes in your talent, and he will push you to places that you go, I don't know, this feels a little weird, but it works. Sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
but he won't use that.
Of course, he won't use that. He will never make you look bad, but he pushes you to challenge yourself, to do things where maybe you go, really, that just feels, I don't know how that's going to turn out. And those are sometimes the most magical moments that happen. I go, there it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Were you worried about this person that you have to play almost every single scene with, knowing what this character was?
Absolutely. I was, well, first of all, first couple of days on set, I was nervous. I was coming into this family that's been together for a long time. They know each other. Ray has worked with Vince for a long time. So they have this beautiful relationship, collaborative relationship. And here I am coming into this world that I'm so excited about, been dreaming of. So nerves are getting best of me. And it was terrifying because I had to reprogram my body on the day to stay more open and go deeper into, and that's where Vince would come in like, okay, these people don't have nerves. And you go, I know, Vince, I know, I'm trying here. I'm really trying here. But we have
to just say, like, that is the most insane thing that a director can say to an actor. The person you're playing has no nerves.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never been that.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're playing a robot. And then if you're playing a robot, then like you're saying, that has a whole other freedom to it. That you can't even have that freedom. Yeah. Of robotic freedom.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like it was such a exciting thing to challenge myself with and I have to say, having him helping me through those moments, but having Ray to hold my hand and go, I see it. You got this. We got this. We're in this together.
Yeah.
And when you create that space of safety, you also body does relax naturally. You go, okay, I can do this. And so it was definitely trial and error and finding it and then embodying it more and more as the shoot went on. But having all the physical work and all the prep was definitely easier to go, okay, I'm going to step away for 5 minutes. I need to listen to something. Yeah. Or I need to do my body stuff to go, okay, I'm ready. So I can be present in my physicality, my whole being to do these scenes. And also had to, my body had to be open to invite her because they're not non-threatening, so they're very inviting. So we found that posture to where I hold my hands like this all the time. There's things that we found, and and also Zosia speaks very eloquently and very precisely and very proper. If you listen to the dialogue, that was something that we discussed as well. They have the greatest lawyers in their head, so they're very precise with what they say and how they say things.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
They do. Yeah. And then if you watch in episode 8, Zosia transforms and there's a lot more casual lingo. Yeah. There's more banter that we have. Yeah. And there's just a shift. And I love that some people ask if it's, if Zosia is evolving within the hive mind. Like what's happening to Zosia. And I love that. I want people to have their own interpretation of what they think it means for them. And I have my own, what that episode and that transformation meant for me.
Interesting.
And the physicality changes a little bit. There's a looseness to her. Because also the way we do that dance with Carol all the time is we do have the greatest psychologists in our brain, in our collective. Yeah. So we're studying her. Yeah. So we're constantly watching of like, okay, he put his hand to his mouth. Is he getting nervous? Is he listening? Like, we're always testing the temperature of the comfort of her with us, how close we can get, how far away we need to get. Can I get closer with my body? Oh no, she's not ready, so I need to step back and stand and allow her the space to invite us. Oh, she's more inviting, she's getting more comfortable, we're going to step a little closer. And then because 7 happens, she gives me that hug. It's the ultimate invitation to go, we're in.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting about what you're saying here, especially with something like this, is the idea that the actor has to, and again, especially with something like this, that's such a high concept and so necessary for what I'm about to say, you have to engage in it like a creator as well as an interpreter of this person's creation. You know what I mean? You have to study the world. You have to be on his level about what the rules are here. About
the rules are key. I love that you said that. Rules are key. What are the rules?
Yeah.
You know.
And if he doesn't impart it to you, you have to ask. And if he doesn't, not willing to say, I'm sure at sometimes you have to figure it out for yourself.
100%. Sometimes there are no answers, so you have to figure your way through to make sense to you. So it's authentic to you, so you can play it.
Yes.
Right? So for me, Vince never said to me that she's coming from a spiritual place. She's happy, she's content, she's unflappable. You know, she's maybe an indulgent mother or a grandmother that's doting over her child, unconditional love. But all the realms of that spiritual connection of oneness, that was something for me that I had to tap into to come from that place to play Zosia. Yeah. Right? So, yeah, there's Vince is very, in the most beautiful way, Vince is very simple. He doesn't complicate things when he explains things to you. But it's your job as an actor to fill in the blanks and make this character come to life. And then when you're on the day, you get to tweak it and you get to work it. And that's why we do a lot of takes. And he throws things at you to try. And you have to be ready for it. To be open and go, okay, yeah. Let me take your interpretation of what you need and let me see where I can go with that.
And it sounds like you love that. You love that part of it.
I love all of it. I just love collaborating, and I love, obviously, when you trust somebody. Yeah. And I trust Vince, and I trust in his vision. And now I'm excited to even go back to season 2, because seeing what he meant about the trust, it's even more exciting where I go, oh wow, let's see where we can go further with this. I love collaboration. I love passion, and I love to be challenged. I always say, hurt my feelings with truth, let me go lick my wounds, but then I get to learn from it and come back a bigger person, a stronger person, and evolve from it. That's very important to me. You know? Yes. Truly, I don't like when people just blow smoke up your ass, just being like whatever. I want to learn. I really do. I love learning. I love, you know, if I do something, you know, obviously don't be an asshole, be kind about it. Yeah. But I want to learn. If I do a take and you're like, but I also want to feel safe where I can go, let me just go as far as I can and know that you're going to not shame me for it, not make me feel bad for it. I go, okay, we did that. That was cool. And, you know, let's try something there. Okay, that was great. Let's maybe play with that and see, let's go there. So it's just a very inviting experience. And that breeds the best work. And that's what Vince does for his actors. Yes. He never makes you feel like your questions are dumb. You know, where you ask something and he goes, well, that was stupid. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't make you feel that way. He invites you to ask questions, and he goes, oh, that's a great idea. Let me sit with that. And even if he doesn't use your idea, or he doesn't agree with the idea, he doesn't make you feel like it's a silly idea. And that is so beautiful. And I think that's such a gift to give to actors as a director, as a creator. And then with Ray, you know, she has the passion. Her prep is profound. She also works so hard. She has such passion for this craft. She preps and preps and preps. And we would meet on weekends and work on our scenes before, dissect the scene, talk about the scene before we would begin our work week. Wow. So cool. we would get on set, get our lines, and then we could play. Wow, that's great. It's amazing. Yeah. It's so when you have actors that devoted to their craft, and they love it so much as you do, and you could talk about the process, talk about this, talk about that, it's so exhilarating.
Yes. When you think about what happened here that you described, where you fell in love with something, you always knew you wanted to do it. You got to do it. Then you realized, and maybe this was also always in you, that there was something else you wanted to do, and this just happened to be a mother. But there are people that are listening that have something that they love on top of this thing that they love, which is acting. And they're worried about kind of splitting it and like what that's going to do to their career. And it's just interesting for you, right? They found you. They went to find you. You returned to this. And now you're at it again. It worked. But I want you to say something to people that are worried about that out there. Have you come to a place where you can say something about that?
I think the only thing I can say is to be true to who you are and live your life that you want to live, and live for yourself. And I think abandoning yourself and denying yourself what you need and want is the greatest crime you can do to yourself. Life is going to work out the way it's supposed to. Might not work out the way you might always want, but staying true to what you want and need is the most important thing, I think. So if there is that thing where you're like, I need to go and be a parent or do something else, and I say do it. My husband walked away from being a producer and he became an interior designer. Then he came back to being a producer. And he was the most successful after that. And he was struggled before, you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to stay true to yourself. I think that is key. I think me becoming a mother at that point was being true to whatever was going on for me at that moment. No matter how terrifying that was. And look, the truth is, it's not to be discouraged, but I got lucky. I know how lucky I got with this. And I know some people are like, don't say it's lucky, don't say it's luck. I don't know what else to call it. It happened when it happened. And it's certain things happen in life where I feel like that it's magic, that it's out of my control. But staying true to myself and not abandoning myself is key.
Karolina Wydra.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe at backtooonepodcast.substack.com, where you can listen to back episodes, engage with other listeners, and support the show.